All right, welcome one, welcome all. Hey, it's me, Pugs Moran, Pugs Moran live here on the Radio Misfits podcast network. Although we're not exactly a podcast, we're a streaming show. All right, let me do a quick little check around the system here just to make sure that everything is the way it should be. Because typically I come in and I sit down about 10 minutes before, but I was in the shower, so I was a little bit late today. Started right on time, though. Gotta give me credit for that. I got here. All right, everything looks good. Everything looks good. There we go. The chat room is starting to fill up. Good to see everybody. You know, this was a tactical error on my part. I didn't realize I have a favorite. Okay, so one of the reasons that I started to do this and that I wanted to do this is because I've become a fan of this myself. There are shows that I like to watch every week that I'm a fan of. I think I mentioned earlier on night one, a guy by the name of Steve Lookner, who almost exclusively does breaking news. If something's breaking, he jumps in and he's fun to watch because everything is unfolding right there in front of our eyes. He's great. But then there's most of you know that I am a crazy diehard Chicago White Sox fan. And a couple of things happened on that front today. This is the night that my favorite crazy White Sox live stream podcast show, it's a live stream, but they also do a podcast, streams live. And it's going on right now. And I'm watching them and I'm like, And I'm looking at you guys and I'm like, And then I'm looking back at my guys that I want to watch because they're fun, and it's But no, I'm here. My heart might be there. My heart might be with the From the 108 guys. That's what they're called, the 108, From the 108 guys. My heart is with the one. That's because they all sit together in the section 108 at White Sox games, and they're real rowdy, and they're like typical White Sox South Side trash, and except they're really funny though. They're really funny and they're smart, and it would appeal to absolutely nobody listening right now. And I'm going to stop talking about it, unless of course you're a White Sox fan or grew up on the South Side of Chicago or whatever. But let's see here. What are we going to do tonight? Hi, Byron. Byron was first guy in there. Let's roll. James Garcia is here. James. Brady Morris. Steve. Let's move through here. I'm still not comfortable with being able to, I guess there's a couple of different chat threads going on. There's a YouTube thread that happens if you're watching on YouTube. Then there's the Facebook live thread that happens if you're watching on Facebook. Wait, no, yeah. There's the YouTube thread if you're watching on YouTube, and then the Facebook thread if you're watching on Facebook. And they are both married together on my screen, so I'm looking at both of them. So I get a little bit confused as to like for instance, if someone on Facebook says something and I talk about it, and if somebody in the Facebook thread is doing something and they're interacting, the person on a YouTube thread isn't going to know that. But I am, because I'm seeing it both happen at once. It's all very confusing. Like I said, I don't know. Let's all calm down. Let me have my little nightly spirit. Whew. And then we'll get into a whole bunch of stuff. We're going to, oh my God, when I posted asking you guys earlier today for stuff that could be canceled, stuff from our cultural past that, maybe, I don't know if you could do that today. This, of course, stems from earlier today. We were talking about the Office and the diversity. I do a show every day at noon, too. So if, you just stumbled across this and you didn't know about the show at noon, well, every day, Monday through Friday at noon, I basically do this same kind of a show. Although it's a little bit less like, look at me. I'm in my jammy. I just got out of the shower. Jammies clothes. My son calls this my house coat, because it's like, this is what I wear instead of a bathrobe. And I'm wearing it because it's not I wouldn't do the show in actually, maybe I would do the show in the bathrobe. Anyway, the show at noon is typically just a touch more formal. Just a little, I usually wear a collared shirt or something. Maybe won't don a hat. Maybe I do. I don't know. It depends on if I've shaved it all the way down yet. So then that happens every day at noon, and that's a topic-driven show. That's whatever the heck is going on in the world. So on that show earlier today, we talked about how the episode Diversity Day from The Office, season 1, episode 2, as it turns out, Diversity Day is being canceled. So I asked on Facebook, I said, well, what else? Let's go fishing. Let's go take some people down. What else can we drum up some manufactured outrage for and maybe get some shows taken off or some songs? And then I realized that there were so many different varieties of canceling. There's behavior. Then you can move over into the arts. You've got TV, you've got movies, you've got music. So I started making individual threads, and man, oh man, the music one, when I said, tell me what the most inappropriate song is, or why it would get canceled, or whatever. Actually, I should probably go back and read this, because if it was just inappropriate, then I owe a lot of people an apology. Let's see here. What did I put? Okay, that's it. But no, that's not it. Just talk amongst yourselves. There's hi KB artist. I just saw somebody new pop in there. How did I put this? Oh, that's the other thing. I also asked for behaviors that you may remember about me from my past here in town, doing a radio show, Pugs and Kelly, with my partner Kelly. I asked you for things that we did back then that would probably get us canceled today. I don't remember much. I really don't. So thank you. That'll be fun. That'll be a fun read. I know there were a couple of things that made me literally laugh out loud. Here's how I laugh out loud. If I'm laying in bed and I see something, I'll go like this. This is what you'll hear out of me. Ha! If I'm alone, it doesn't matter. I'm always alone. I'm a loner. I'm a bit of a hermit here out in the guest house of the sprawling Highland Park estate that I'm so blessed to have access to. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's something is really funny. It's legitimately funny to me if I'm all by myself and I do this. Ha! And sometimes I forget. I do that and my kid will be in the other room. He's like, "What's so funny?" And it's like, never mind. Mood is wrong. Moment has passed. That was just for me, kiddo. All right, so we got the noon show and we got this show. This show's a little bit lighter. We're going to do examples of, this show is going to be all about canceling. And we're going to go through shit and we're going to figure out, why could it be canceled? And I'm going to tell you, in a lot of these cases, why it's not, why it's just people who are, misinterpreting. Okay, so I asked for give me examples of inappropriate songs from our past, provide lyrics if necessary. Now, the examples that I gave right out of the box was Winger, "She's only 17. You know that one? I don't even know any more of the lyrics, but it goes like that. "She's only 17. No program director around to tell me not to sing. It's my universe, baby. And the other example was the Beatles. The Beatles, who I love. They're like my number one favorite band of all time. I'm not a Beatle freak. You know the Beatle freak? Like, there are Beatle freaks who are weird. They are just they're like Trekkie freaks. They're like the really hardcore Trekkie, or I suppose anybody that's really been, dug into one specific area of interest. But yeah, Beatle freaks are. That's not me. I'm not a Beatle freak. I just acknowledge that they're great and I love their music and I know a lot of their history, and because I've read a lot of books about them and stuff. But I don't go to conventions. I don't dress up like Ringo and go to the convention. I don't do that. That is not something I'm interested in. They're a rock band. They're not they're not a Tolkien novel. It's not something. It's not a Star Wars event. So, and there's also, I just wish that Beatle fanatics were cooler. Because the Beatles, for me, are really cool. Just the way John Lennon, especially, is just such a cool guy, and I just wish the fans were just a little bit cooler. But maybe it's because, never mind, getting off on a tangent. But yeah, my other example of an inappropriate song with inappropriate lyrics is the Beatles' "Run for Your Life." So I threw that, came right to the top of my head. That's basically a song where John Lennon is telling his girlfriend, you better run for your life if I ever see you talking to another man, because I'll basically kill you. He is essentially just saying, the lyrics are really crazy. Run for your life if you can, little girl. Hide your head in the sand, little girl. Catch you with another man, that's the end, little girl. You better run for your life. It's like he's chasing his girlfriend because she was flirting with another guy. Big hit, totally acceptable back in the 1960s. So I gave that as an example. And then, boy, oh boy, did my little Beatle fan mind get open. There are a lot more Beatle examples of them really inappropriate. Really? So that was a bit of a fun little shock for me. All right, before we go any further, we'll get into that. We'll get into things that I've done that could have me canceled, and then we'll dive deeper. We'll go through the list of things you came up with, TV shows, movies, characters, all that kind of stuff that you believe should be canceled. All right, I'm going to pour my drink. We'll get everything started here. Be sure and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or if you can't find us on the YouTube, you can go to the web, which is just pugscast.com. That'll take you directly to the YouTube page. I would appreciate any and all support. Yeah, we're not going to do too much. We're just going to do a little bit. We don't need to get crazy. Oh, so thankfully nothing worse has happened here with Afghanistan, unless something has happened in the last couple of minutes. I mean, look, the whole thing is terrible. We know that. But I was actually expecting to come back on today and be like, oh man, here we go again, another 4 explosions. And although they have issued another imminent threat, no, there is an imminent threat to the area around the airport. So everybody be prepared. The last time they issued an imminent threat was last night, a couple hours before the explosions this morning. So let's take that very seriously. What a cluster F, huh? What a complete mess. I'll tell you, in watching all the news and stuff, a lot of guys, a lot of talking heads, a lot of different points of view on this whole thing. You guys know a guy named Phil Mudd? He's a former CIA guy, and he's probably a really bad dude because he's a CIA guy, and they aren't the nice guys. But I love his takes on this stuff. I'm a Mudhead. I'm a Phil Mudhead. I'll listen to whatever I don't even know if he's right. I just like the way he says it, and I like his sort of point of view and where he's coming from. Let's see. ISIS-K claims responsibility for the attacks near Kabul. Oh, that's right. The president did speak, thankfully. Biden vows revenge for 13 U.S. service members. All right. Well, that just killed the mood. Says, we will hunt you down and make you pay. All right, we better. We better. I mean, here's to you. Here's to them 13, right? Let's hope they're the last heroes that have to die over there. Hasn't been anyone. We actually did have another military death in Afghanistan back in June, but it hasn't been the way it was. I mean, you remember when they were coming home when we couldn't take pictures of the airplanes being, the heroes' bodies being unloaded, all of that stuff. Those were some rough days. And I guess this is just the worst part before the end, hopefully. Or is this the end? I don't know. I have no idea. All right. So next week, I just wanted to make sure everybody knows this is our first week of shows, doing 2 shows daily. Next week, there are going to be a couple of tweaks, a couple of little differences. We're going to start out on Sunday night. So this is the last nighttime show of this week. There will be no nighttime show on Friday night. There will be, however, a show on Sunday. So the nighttime shows are going to go Sunday through Thursday nights, and then the daytime shows, those are workaday shows. Those are going to be every day, Monday through Friday at noon. All right, let me, hey, we need to throw out some congratulations. I always love it when I am, when I go out on a limb for something, or when I was talking about Ted Lasso. I felt very vindicated. I'd been talking about Ted Lasso like a crazy man for months and months, and everyone's like, I've never even heard of that show. And then suddenly it wins every award under the sun. Oh, what happened here? Give me a second. Talk amongst yourselves. There we go. Yes, I always like when I feel vindicated. Ted Lasso was a good example of me being vindicated. Nobody heard about it. I was talking about it. I love it. Shut up. That sounds stupid. Yeah, I know. It sounds really stupid. I can't explain why it's not, but it does. The premise of Ted Lasso sounds incredibly stupid until you start watching it and you're like, Wow. Hey, well, this is a little something different. So there, Vindication. It's winning all kinds of awards. It is widely critically acclaimed. 99% approval on all. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy how well. So I feel good about that. But how about this one? How about a round of applause for our guy, Dan Weinberger at Weinberger's Deli? How long have I been telling you people? How long have I been telling you people that Weinberg Deli is the best damn deli in all of Texas? And here we got this eatthis.com, which is a food blog. They did a rank, one of those clickbait things. What's the best deli in each state? And Dan Weinberger and Weinberger's Deli out there in Grapevine won. They were the best deli in all of Texas. Eat that, Austin. Austin with your everything that is the best. It's smaller there, but if it's the best of Texas, it's probably in Austin. I actually heard someone say words to that effect once, and I'm like, oh, Jesus, okay. Oh, you Austinites. There's something about you. I mean, look, I love Austin, but you know who I'm talking. The people who are diehard, Austin for life, the ones that hate all these Hollywood people showing up there now, the ones that have been hippies there since the early 90s. I love Austin. But man, then people think they got something extra special, and really it's just special. Extra special, I don't know. I haven't seen extra special. Not in a long time, anyway. So I could click through the whole thing, but let's see here. I think it was something that Dan put. Yes, the best deli in every state. Eat this, not that. Weinberger's Deli. And to that end, I was trying to I reached out. Dan and I we missed each other today. We were talking. I wanted to congratulate him on that and tell him that I wanted to come out. I was going to come out and I was going to bring my kid out there Saturday. We're going to have lunch out there. And I wanted to just, make sure that he was there because, he's one of the reasons that I'd go out there. But he's the owner. So, so if he's not going to be there Saturday, we'll go there Sunday. But I was also thinking that, and I needed to clear this with him first before we give out a time. I was going to say, well, if any of you folks out there, you want to come join us all for lunch. Well, if you guys, people who are, hanging out with us here every night or listen to us at noon, I'm going to be out there with my boy. I think my pal Ed's coming. My buddy Aaron is coming with his daughters. We're going to be out there having a table, having some lunch, probably sitting outside, probably not outside. I don't know. It's always so crowded there anyway. Here's the problem. It's always so crowded there and so busy because it's the best deli in Texas. I want to clear it with Dan before I say, hey, meet us out there at 9:00 or whatever. Before I say that, I mean, imagine he's got not that I'm going to cry. I mean, I'm showing up just myself. The party that we're going to lunch with is probably 8-9 people. So if, 10 more show up, just, out of you guys, let's say 5 of you show up. Let's say you bring a girl or a friend or whatever. We're going to have a nice little group of people. But, I don't want to put those wheels in motion until we talk to Dan and make sure that that's okay. Because I can't imagine it would be a problem. I mean, what business owner doesn't love when his place is super packed? But his place is packed all the time anyway. I mean, it really is. So I got to talk to Dan about that. Otherwise, maybe we can all get together for lunch on Saturday or Sunday, whatever. Is there for me though, Saturday is a big sports night for me and the boy. I have my son this weekend, which is always puts me in a good mood. If it seems like I got a little extra bounce in my step, it's because of that. I'm always a little extra happy when, we get to hang out. Boys Weekend, we call it. And it's a good one for Boys Weekend because for us personally, we're going to watch baseball all weekend. It is Cubs Sox weekend. Cubs Sox. We are, of course, on Team White Sox. That was ever in doubt. He was raised to hate the Chicago Cubs, and it has stuck. Kids are so funny, man. It's like from the time he was little, he was always decked out in gear. And before he could probably even understand English, I was whispering things in his ear like, the North Side sucks. The North Side. And from the time he could talk, the first song he learned, I taught when he was a little toddler, and I've got tape of it. This is so great. There is a song from the neighborhood that I come from, a pub song that I come from a very shanty Irish part of Chicago. And there's a pub song called the Southside Irish. And when my son was very little, probably 4 or 3, it was the first song that I taught him. So he used to toddle around the house singing this drinking song, this toddler song. And the line that he loved the most is the line in the song that says, "And when it comes to baseball, we've got 2 favorite clubs, the Go White Sox and whoever plays the Cubs." And he just loved that line. And he would only sing that line. So yes, I brainwashed him to be a Cub hater and a White Sox lover. So it's a big weekend for us. It's Cub Sox weekend. For those of you who don't have 2 baseball teams in your town, no, it's kind of like, you know how Texas OU weekend is here and coming up. Oh, I wonder what that's going to be like this year. I can't. It didn't happen last year, right? I wasn't here, but I imagine that Texas OU weekend didn't really happen last year. How's it going to happen this year? Is it stuck? Now that I am thinking about it, I don't know anything about Texas OU weekend other than, I used to love that. That was like, those were some lost weekends here in town for me years ago. And it seemed back then that Texas always got blown out. I remember I actually went to a game one year when it was like 56. It was horrible. Oklahoma just completely destroyed us. But whatever, it's always a good time. So that sort of one game Saturday kind of thing, Texas OU weekend, the way people, are partying and having fun. That's kind of what Cubs Sox weekend is to a degree, but more so when it's at Wrigley because that's surrounded by bars and stuff. This week it's on the south side. So. All right. So, my son and I, so we're going to have to watch baseball all weekend. And we're also going to we're very excited for preseason football game 3. We're very excited to see Justin Fields start for our Bears. We're very excited. We've been waiting. He's still not going to, we're still never going to see him play with the first team. I don't get this. Can we see the kid with the first team? Can we see the kid throw into somebody other than a dude that's going to be selling real estate in 2 weeks? I mean, I'd love to see how the kid plays on the field with a guy like Allen Robinson. I'd love to see how he plays with Mooney. I'd love to see him play with David Montgomery in the background, maybe a tight end like Cole Kmet or Jimmy. I can't. So he's starting the whole game, but he's still not playing with the first teamers because the first teamers are sitting out. So Justin Fields, every other quarterback in every other system that was drafted in this year's draft, all the other, what do they call them, the Big Five? Trevor Lawrence has had experience already in preseason with the first team. Zach Wilson has had experience with the first team. Trey Lance has had experience with the first team. Who else am I missing? Justin Fields is the only one who hasn't had, because Matt Nagy promised Andy Dalton that if he left Dallas, he would be QB1. Oh my God. Every day in practice. Nobody wants to hear my Bears rants. I'm sorry. But every day in practice, Justin Fields is wiping the damn turf with Andy Dalton. And yet, because our coach made a promise, yes, Andy, I promise if you come to Chicago, we'll make you the number one. We'll make you QB1. And then they didn't have any idea they were going to be drafting Justin Fields when they got that. And okay, we don't. Yeah, exactly, John. The burst. So congratulations to Dan Weinberger. We got that one out of the way. And I'll keep you updated. I'll let you know on Facebook if we end up going to Weinberger's this weekend and making it a little fun afternoon meet and greet kind of a deal. I'll keep you updated here on the Facebook page. So just be checking there. What the hell? Who's screwing with my transition? So Ed didn't like that it was way overmodulated last night. He didn't like that it was like, he didn't like that. I liked that. And he told me, he's like, I fixed it. And I'm like, no, what are you talking about? You fixed it. I loved it overmodulated. Now that's too low. That's not loud enough. Nobody's ever going to know that that's transition music. It's too low. Okay. So let's see. Who's Clovis is now in there. Hi, we got John. John's one of the original old school P&K guys. Kimberly, hi. Shelly, Jeff, Mr. Granger, Mr. Davis, my man Panther City Playboy checking in. He's one of my best. He's one of my best pals on Twitter. Panther City Playboy. I don't know if we know each other or whatever, but he's a good dude over there on Twitter. James Clovis. Okay, guys, good to see you. All right. Leslie, my girl. Dustin is here. Just yes, this is my friend Kevin Barber made a Magic Mirror reference, and this is very Magic Mirror. You remember? Do you guys remember that, or is that just because I'm old? But there was this kid show, Romper Room. I don't know, this fringe show. Maybe you've heard of it. Romper Room only ran for 50 years in America. No, Romper Room, and it depends on how old you were, who your preschool teacher was. Like, I remember when I was little, they changed teachers. Like, I don't know, between me being 3 and 4. And it was like the first real devastating event in my life. I remember being really upset. Who is this? I think it was was it Miss Kitty? No, that's Bonanza, right? Yeah. No. Man, I don't know. But somebody told me that this reminds them of Romper Room when I say hi to everybody. They say, oh, what? This transition is better? The other one was obnoxiously loud. Really? Really? God. Okay. All right. Well, gotta be louder. It's gotta be a little bit louder. Yeah. Right? At the end? Oh, wouldn't that be great? Wait, what if at the end there was like Buck Rogers lasers? Pew, pew. Right? Now we're talking? I bet Ed could get that done. I bet he could. All right. Money shot. That's right, my man. That's right, Byron. Let's see. I'm just going to give a quick run through. We got a lot to do today, so don't worry. We're going to get into something. Have you been to Austin? You simply must go. That's what Clovis says. Nah, that's only for Iceland. Remember, that's the Iceland needs to use that as their tourism board. Shelly says the Pugs and Kelly sandwich is the best out there at Weinberger's. Well, is it? I mean, everything out there is so good. I can tell you that. Don't make me go into it again about how what I believe is now called the Pugs and Kelly sandwich was once called just the Pug sandwich, but somehow they must have eliminated Kelly's sandwich because, it was a Kelly sandwich. It was healthy and it, it wasn't going to kill you. And I don't know, maybe it probably had like avocado or something on. I don't know. Kelly's very healthy. She's very health conscious. So whatever her sandwich was obviously didn't sell. And then they went, you know what? We don't want to disrespect Kelly because she's just as important as Pugs. So let's just move Kelly. And now I got to share my sandwich with her, which I'll tell you, it's not a big deal, but tomorrow or Saturday, whenever I go there, like the reason I want to go there is because me and my little boy we're foodies. We're adventurous with food. We love to go to places and try new things, and we get all excited about it. And he has a food dance that he does when something's good. He just starts like grooving like that, and that means it's good. So I've been wanting to take him to a Weinberger's for a long time, but I wasn't here. And there's a place in Chicago called Manny's Deli, and that's me and my boy's favorite food place on earth. I mean, there's actually a picture on this Facebook page somewhere of my son at Manny's Deli with a table just filled with plates, and he is passed out. He is sound asleep on the table with his head right next to a piece of corned beef, and it's very cute. So I want him to know Weinberger's because that's the place. Well, hey, just like the website said today, eatthis.com, the best deli in all of Texas is Weinberger's. So we're going out there, and we're gonna definitely. I definitely want to get my sandwich. But, the reason it's a little bit upsetting to me that it's not just my own sandwich anymore is because, honestly, I want to show off a little bit. I want my kid to be like, my dad, go back to something. My dad's got a sandwich named after him. Because quite frankly, my son has only basically known loser fun Pugs. Like I've been fun dad, but not really a lot to write home about as far as accomplishments and all that throughout his life. I mean, I basically peaked before he was born. And then ever since he's been around, it's just been sort of like, whoop, whoop, whoop. So this is going to be like an opportunity for me to, so he can go, oh, okay, so you weren't lying about having a radio. He says that. He says that like jokingly, like he needles me. Like he's like, I'm like, because I always find myself saying stuff like, I was once up on a billboard. And he's like, sure you were. Sure, prove it. And there's no way I can prove it. So I'm gonna shove a Pugs and Kelly sandwich in his face. You will respect me, boy. All right. Let's get into this. What do you guys want to do first? And honestly, whatever you say, it doesn't matter because I'm ultimately going to decide because there's no way for us to communicate in a two-way fashion at the moment. Someday, phones are working, by the way. I just don't want to do phones. I just, maybe in the 11 o'clock hour, we'll do phones. We'll open them up. We can talk. But we've got new equipment. Like I said, hey, look, it's been great, hasn't it? I mean, we haven't had any drag. We like tripled our band, whatever. I mean, so new equipment's been shown. I've been promising you that it's going to get better. The only thing I'm worried about now is back there. I'm not entirely sure that anything's going to be happening back there. I think that might be what we're stuck with. So maybe I'll just get some magic markers and draw some smiley faces or something. I don't know, but we got to do something back there. I have an idea. I have a wonderful idea. Except the person that I need to pull the idea off didn't seem to like the idea, and now I'm stuck. You know what? What would be great? You know what? Maybe I'll just go to do they still have Spencer's at malls? Spencer's gift stores? So you remember you go to the mall, you're 13, 14, 15 years old, and there'd be a line to thumb through the posters in the back. And you weren't buying a poster. You just wanted to see boobs because it was all like Heather Thomas in a pink bikini or Ginger Lynn, in lingerie. And you just sit there. But also there was like crazy like Molly Hatchet, like medieval monsters with axes, like all kinds of weird, bizarre art. I think I might do that then. I'm going to go to Spencer's and I'm going to get a whole bunch of them throwback posters and we'll just rotate them in and out. You might tune in on a day when it's Heather Thomas in her pink bikini in the hot tub. Remember that one? She was like posed like this. She was like kind of getting in the hot tub. She was like, it was a pink bikini. My room as a kid had all that stuff. My room as a kid had all of the good Spank stuff, all the, the Farrah Fawcett's, the Heather Thomases, the Heather Locklears, had all the good stuff. And then a bunch of Michael Jackson stuff. It was so weird. Now that I think about it, it's like, he's definitely going to be straight. Definitely going to be straight. Definitely going to be straight. What is with all the Michael Jackson stuff? It's the girly. Like I had a poster of Michael, just going back to like 1982, 1983. There was a poster in my room of Michael Jackson wearing really bad like blue jeans, a white, you guys might know this poster, a white sweater, and he was laying in a field holding like a daisy. And it was like, it's like, and it's right there, right next to Heather Thomas. So when a young man such as myself is, really appreciating the Heather Thomas poster in the middle of the night, the way a young man is wont to do, there was like this constant drift over to Michael Jackson laying in the field. It was very odd, very odd. Don't question me. I had a rough upbringing. All right, now we need another. Pew! Do you think I forgot that time? I didn't. All right, so we were going to do some examples. Inappropriate song lyrics. This is the one I want to start with first. So everything's getting canceled. Everything's outraging everybody. Everything is a problem. But man, it sure seems like, I mean, we know it's a new phenomena. This is something that the younger generations are really getting into. So I thought we'd go through the great American pop song book of the last 30 years. And I asked you guys for your suggestions on songs that are inappropriate. And I think what I was really looking for was songs that lyrics, artists that, it could be up next. They could be in the on deck circle to be canceled. They haven't gotten to them yet, but oh my God, what were they saying? I was thinking about that kind of thing. Not necessarily. I mean, what is inappropriate? I guess that's very subjective. We don't know what's inappropriate to me. What's totally appropriate to me might be wildly inappropriate to you. But this is what I wanted to see. So, man, the one thing that really shocked me was all of the just awful Beatles stuff. I mean, I love John Lennon. I really do. I think John Lennon is one of the coolest rock stars that there has ever been. But, wow. Yeah, his mind worked in a really weird way. Ooh, hold on. Sorry, guys. I'm looking for something. Can't find it. Oh, no. This is going to be one of those nights where I'm going to have to... I can't find my other thing. All right. That's okay. We'll be fine for right now. Nah, actually, you know what? I'll be right back. Hold on. I'm going to be right back. You guys sit and talk amongst yourselves. Okay. So let me explain. Oh, I put these in. I love my new headphones, courtesy of the good people at RadioMisfits.com. Radio Misfits. It's Misfits. New radio sound. The last couple of nights I've been saying that I've got cottonmouth the minute I sign on. Well, and I've got a second one here. Before I signed on, I chugged an entire bottle of water. And I was like, oh man, in 15 minutes, I'm going to have to go to the bathroom really bad. And the minute I sat down, I could start to feel, I'm sorry, thank you. I appreciate you bearing with me. So let's make it official. Pew. All right, so inappropriate song lyrics. I asked you guys for your suggestions on songs that, they were good. They were hits. They were celebrated. Everybody loves them. Byron Granger, he had a good one. He had pretty much the one that we all know. This, I mean, it's not good in that, like, oh, I'd never thought about that. But he is he's setting the standard for what it is that I'm talking about. And he came up with "Baby It's Cold Outside." We all know this, right? They tried to cancel it. Oh, they're trying to cancel the Christmas song, But truly, it's a cool song. I mean, I think it's a great song. There's nothing wrong with that song, right? I mean, people who think there's something wrong with it, they're looking for something. I mean, yeah, it's about a guy, and he's not taking no for an answer. But, I don't remember a fourth or fifth verse where he holds her down and rapes her. He's trying. It's the way guys used to be. But that's exactly what I'm talking about, because apparently in this era, it's inappropriate for a guy to, try and get a girl into bed. Well, I'm telling you, if that ever becomes truly inappropriate, then, the human race is over, because, what you can't do, of course you could do that. Of course you can, if a girl says, I got to go home, of course you could say, come on, stay a little bit longer. What you can't do is stand in front of the door, or get a gun from the drawer and say, get in the bedroom. I mean, you can't do that. But what's going on? Baby, it's cold outside. Although, he's trying to get her drunk. Okay, but what? She's got no personal responsibility? He's like, let me pour you a drink. Or whatever it is. We'll have another. I cannot get drunk. Or obviously, I don't know the song. But I'm just telling you what I think is going on there. And that was one of the complaints that I heard. Well, he's trying to get her drunk so that he can have sex with her. Okay. He's trying to get her drunk so he can have sex with her. Everybody has tried that. That's why you meet girls in bars. Can I buy you a drink? I mean, that is not necessarily sinister in and of itself. I mean, now if he went all Cosby on her, yeah, now we got a problem. Or if he, like I said, he stands in front of the door. So yeah, baby, it's cold outside. People had a problem with that. And I can kind of see why people would have a problem with it. But come on. All she's got to do is keep saying no. And then if he's just like, he's going to give up at some point, or she can just get up and leave. And then the problem becomes when he doesn't let her leave. But there is no indication in that song that he's going to hold her hostage for a weekend like Rick James on a crack binge. I mean, it's crazy. It's a cute little song. So thank you. That was from Byron. Byron set the tone there. And that's what I wanted to say. With stuff like that. Songs that... you can kind of see, like, okay, like if you really wanted to pick a fight about it, I suppose we could tear it apart, but let's talk about intention and not necessarily just what you're getting from it, because I think you're stupid and you're getting the wrong part of it. Nicholas Martinez had a good one. Nicholas Martinez said, there's a band, predates my time, maybe some of you are a little bit older, Gary Puckett and the Union Gap Band. Now, I know the song, Young Girl is the name of the song. I think it is. Young Girl, get out of my mind. Okay, so there really is a theme that builds here, and that is that there are a lot of pedophile rock songs. There are, oh my God, and you guys reminded me of so many. I mean, of course, Winger, she's only 17. That was my suggestion. But at its worst, I mean, wasn't Winger young? I mean, okay, she's only 17, and I'm not excusing it. I know that there's a line of demarcation there, but, you know, if it was, for instance, somebody else suggested the Beatles. She was just 17. But when they wrote that, they were just like 19. I mean, it wasn't like it was a crazy, weird older man being a predator, but I get it. There's a line of demarcation. If, you know, Bruce Springsteen wrote a song right now about, I saw her 16 years old. I saw her, you know, something like that would be a problem because Bruce is like 74. You'd be like, come on, man, Bruce, what's happening? So Gary Puckett and the Union Gap Band, Girl, Get Out of My Mind. That's a wonderful suggestion. That's good because it is. It's like, young girl, get out of my mind. He's lusting after, but maybe it's a positive song. Maybe he is a pedophile who's fighting it. Maybe he knows who he is. It's the curse that he's been stricken with, and he's doing everything that he can to not be a pedophile. I'm trying to spin it positively. Seem a little up and manic, don't I? I know. And this is, I've had like one sip of whiskey too, and nothing else. Okay. Shelley, let's see. Oh, Shelley Brazil and Brady Morris. This is another one that hurts me. I am a big Police fan. I'm a big fan of the Police. I mean, they're in my top 3 favorite bands of all time. But my goodness, I've never honestly thought about it. They've got a lot of stuff that's... All right, so Don't Stand So Close to Me by the Police. That's one. That's a problem. Don't Stand So Close to Me is... It's not... See, here's what you have to understand about that song. It's not Sting. I love it. Well, he was a teacher, and in the song he sings, a teacher, a subject, a schoolgirl fantasy. Okay, but it's really sort of a play on, and he even name checks Nabokov's Lolita in the song. It is a sort of play on the whole Lolita thing. So you know what? Now I'm talking myself into thinking that no, he was just a pervy school teacher at one point in his life, and now he's justifying it by being an arrogant, literate fool. No, you see, I wasn't lusting after that schoolgirl. I was actually just testing a theory of mine that was first put forth by Nabokov in the book Lolita, in which he states a man who, I think it was just Sting. Maybe Sting is kind of a weirdo, now that I think about it. So Don't Stand So Close to Me by the Police. That's an interesting one. I was like, yeah, okay, all right. But then there's the other one. I did have this one. I went, oh, when someone mentioned this police song, I went, oh yeah, that is a little troubling. That is that one. That one even made me kind of ooked out back when I first heard it. I don't know what are we going to say about this one. And it's every breath you take. It's like it's a stalker song. It's a total stalker. I'll be watching you. Yeah, it's cool. My goodness. So, boy, look at this. Here we are. Just the first couple that I ran across here in this list of inappropriate song lyrics and inappropriate songs. My two of my three favorite bands of all time. Yeah, it's goodness gracious. So thank you, Shelley Brazil and Brady Morris for the police suggestions. Carrie Ann. Oh, which one is this one? Is this one? There's one that I want to actually go through the lyrics on because they are shocking. Oh, why does this keep happening? I'm sorry, folks. I keep losing my place. This is absolutely not your fault. It's just that you all had so many great suggestions. I see what I did was I took them off the Facebook page and made my own new little sheet. And the idea was, well, I'm just going to take a few of them. But you guys were all so good. They were all so good. Now I got this huge, massive mess of songs. Okay, so we left off with the police. And now we are going to get into, oh, yeah. So some of you may have been listening, and you know that I'm staying in a hoity-toity 1%er neighborhood. A lot of famous neighbors. We've got we've got not one, but two NFL team owners in this neighborhood. We've got a former president of the United States who is, just up the tollway a little bit. But, right down the street, right corner, right, around the corner over there on the other side of the block, we've got the former home of one George Michael. Yeah, I want your sex. I love George. I love George Michael, man. I don't know that I loved George Michael when Wham was around. And as a matter of fact, I think that when Wham was around and maybe when he was doing his solo stuff, 'cause you gotta have faith. I gotta have, I don't think that was something that I would have been allowed to say I like, I mean, depending on your age. That's stupid, man. Back when we still called everything gay. That's gay. That dude is so gay. And I'd be like, he's not. He's with, you should see the models that he's with. He's no way he's gay. Well, time will tell. So anyway, George Michael living around the block. So I'm very protective of George Michael. And when I first saw this, I was like, what are you talking about, Carrie Ann? What do you mean there's something wrong with the song Father Figure? What are you talking about? That's a beautiful song. Oh my God, you guys, I never actually listened to the lyrics of Father Figure, and he's not even hiding. You could, if a couple of lyrics from that song were not in it, you might be able to say, no, what he's saying is that he wants to be the person in her life that she depends on, that he wants to be, the rock in her life. I could have said that. But then there's a lyric in that song that goes, put your little hand in mine. I will be your father figure. God. George! He's dead. He doesn't live there anymore. New people live there, I guess. And they couldn't hear me anyway. Further away than I make it out. I just try to sound cool. You people are like my kid. I try to impress you. So here. Let's see if we can pull that up. Let's just look at a couple of these George Michael Father Figure lyrics, shall we? Shall we delve into it? That's all I want. I won't sing, I promise. That's all. No, you know what? I'm not going to promise that. That's all I wanted. Something special, something sacred in your eyes. For just one moment, to be bold and naked at your side. I'm going to sing sometimes. Sometimes I think that you'll never understand me. Maybe this time is forever. Say it can be. Whoa. I mean, that's a lyric. Whoa. Whoa. That's all you wanted. Something special, something sacred in your life. Just for a moment to be warm and naked at my side. Right? And you're thinking, okay, well, this is like a sexy song, right? He's got an age-appropriate gal, probably some fashion model that I see him with in all them videos. Sometimes I think that you'll never. See, I almost started to sing there, but I thought better of it. Sometimes I think that you'll never understand me, but something tells me together we'd be happy. Oh, oh. Tell me that doesn't sound like pedophile logic. I know we have nothing in common. I know that I'm 30 years older than you. I know. But if you just give me time, and then it goes into the chorus. I will be your father figure. Oh, baby, put your tiny hand in mine. That's where it all goes to shit, right? You lose any sort of argument. Why is her hair? Why is your hand so much larger than hers? And exactly what are we talking about here? Are we talking about a 16-year-old or a 6-year-old, George? This is a very odd song. I will be your preacher teacher, be your daddy, anything you have in mind. It would make me, I will be your father figure, very happy. I have had enough of crime. Well, what are you getting at? Again, this sounds like a crime to me, George. What do you mean you've had enough of crime? I will be the one who loves you till the end of time. Oh my God. Doesn't that sound like a hostage? Doesn't that sound like she's in the well? She rubs the lotion on her skin. I will be the one who loves you till the end of time. So yeah, George Michael, father figure. That's a very good, Carrie Ann, very good. I'm being ruined here. I like George Michael. I always like, all right, so he was a bit of a character, if you will, bit of a character. But man, was he talented. That dude could sing. Oh. Had that whole blue-eyed soul thing going on. Daryl Hall made so popular. Okay, let's move on here. Albert Ray, he says, see, and now again, what are we doing here, people? Why are you doing this to me? You did this to me with the Beatles. You did this to me with the Police. You did this to me with George Michael, who we were just talking about. And now, seriously, you're going to do this to me with the Boss? I just made a joke about that. You're really going to throw the Boss at me? Everyone knows I love the Boss. Everyone knows that there's the White Sox and the Boss and the Bears, those and Notre Dame, and those are like my things that are my things. I love those things. But have you ever heard the song I'm on Fire? Hey, little girl, is your daddy home? Did he go away and leave you all alone? That's the creepiest. Come on. That is when my kid was I actually knew this one was creepy. When you think my singing sucks, well, I've got a 12-year-old boy who still on occasion likes me to sing him to sleep because I used to sing him to sleep all the time, and that was one of the songs when he was really little. We didn't do lame ass lullabies. We did Springsteen songs. I'm not even kidding. It's Atlantic City would put him to sleep. Daddy, play the Chicken Man song. Well, they blew up the Chicken Man in Philly last night. I'd give him that whole thing. And then, what else? I'm on Fire was one that we would do. And, Thunder Road was the big one. The Thunder. I knew that he would probably stay awake for I'm on Fire, and then probably I'd have to sing the entirety of Atlantic City. But then once I got to Screen Door Salams, Mary's dress waves, and I knew if I got to like the middle of Thunder Road and his eyes were still open, I was in trouble. Then I would have to go into the James Taylor, which, oh boy. If I have to get into there is a young cowboy who lived on the range, he ain't going to sleep. We might as well just go back in the TV room and watch something because he ain't going to sleep. But when I would sing I'm on Fire, it hit me. I was like, tell me now, baby, is it good to you? Can it do to you those things that I do? Mm-hmm. Is this a little girl? Didn't she just ask if her daddy was home? Is that Catch a Predator guy around here anywhere? Because maybe we could give you some sweet tea and homemade cookies. Come on in, stand up. Can we talk to you? What do you got in the bag? Condoms. Why do you have condoms, Bruce? So Albert Ray, that's another good one. So all of my icons apparently all my icons have a little streak of pedophilia in them. And this is a real come to Jesus moment for me. I have to wipe them all off my Spotify. Y'all just heard me burp, didn't you? I'm sorry. I have to tell you, when I talk like this much without taking a break, the things happen. The way so just deal with it. I do apologize. I'll try to keep those vulgar displays of masculinity in check. JD Bell comes up with Kiss. Now, Kiss was in the news today. Kiss apparently had to cancel a concert that they were doing in Pennsylvania. A lot of people were really pissed off because Paul Stanley tested positive for coronavirus. Yeah. What are you going to do? JD Bell, he suggests the Kiss song, Christine 16. Yeah, and that was a hit, man. I remember that. I was a little kid, but I guess when I heard that song, 16 seemed like a grown-up to me, so I didn't really think much of it. But yeah, Christine 16. That's they're just out there singing about having sex with illegal girls. Apparently, statutory rape used to be totally acceptable. Totally acceptable. Jeff Wilmer. This is another one. This one, now I'm not a fan of this guy, but I do know this song. This song was a massive hit. And I believe this is like a big wedding song. I've probably heard this at weddings, and I never really knew what it was about because, I'm not a big Benny Mardones fan, but you know the song Into the Night? Yeah, into the night, well, I pick you up, or whatever it is. I don't know. It's something like that. I don't have the rights to play any music. If we worked for a corporation that subscribed to BMI and all the licensing, we might be able to play the music. But until we get this thing funded, we are not going to be in that arena. So you're just going to have to put up with me singing. So I wanted to bring that one up too. Okay, Benny Mardones, Into the Night, which was a very, very big hit, as I recall. I mean, like I said, it seems to be a staple at weddings and all of these things. Hold on, let me. There we go. I just want to see who else is in there. I need to learn to take a break and just allow some of y'all to say what you want to say, and then I'll interact with you. But I'm kind of rolling, baby, kind of rolling. Let's see what else here. Oh, so Benny Mardones, right? Into the Night. We want to go through these lyrics. We want to find out exactly. Okay, Benny Mardones. The Into the Night. I mean, you've seen brides dancing. I don't know. Is this a father-daughter song? Maybe it should be. Or, oh no, maybe it shouldn't be. God, what am I thinking? All right. So the lyrics in question here for Benny Mardones, Into the Night. This was the song. This is the crowd. This is me and the hurricanes, and this is for you. Apparently, that's how it starts. It's like he's telling us. He's dedicating this song. She's just 16 years old. Leave her alone, they say. Separated by fools who don't know what love is yet. But I want you to know. If I could fly, I'd pick you up. I'd take you into the night and show you love like I don't know. I really don't know how to song. I'm usually at the bar when something like this comes on at a wedding. It's just background noise. But what is that? She's just 16 years old. Leave her alone, they say. Yeah, Benny, leave her alone. She's 16. You're a man in your 30s or maybe even 40s. I don't know. That's some weird shit there, Benny. Let's see if there's anything else weird in here about these lyrics. It's like having a dream where nobody has a heart, where nobody, baby. It's like having it at all and watching it all fall apart. And I would wait till the end of time for you. And you're going to be dead a lot, but probably way before she is. So your end of time is coming much sooner than her. So there's nothing that compares to it. But I want you to know that if I could fly, I'd pick you up. I'd say, all right, he seems here to now be. The lead is the lead. The lead is the first stanza where he or verse where he probably, I don't know how a song opens, but the first lyrics are, this was the song, this is the crowd. It's like he's in front of the audience going, this is the song that they tell me not to sing, but this is the crowd I can tell that appreciates some good pedophile songs. So we're going to get into some pedo music. Let's do it now. She's just 16 years old. Leave her alone, they say. That's the problem. She's just 16 years old. Leave her alone, they say. I was blown away by this. This song is like omnipresent. You hear it while you're pushing a cart in the store. You hear it in an elevator. Like I said, you hear it at weddings. I've never listened to the lyrics because it's just the beat and it's not a song that really I'm interested in. I don't really like that kind of schmaltzy stuff. It's very schmaltzy, but it's also, as it turns out now, it's very pedo-y, very pedo-y. You know what the problem is, though? And you guys don't realize this. This room, my son realizes this because I sing all the time. I'm not a good singer, but I sing all the time. This room has such incredible acoustics that like my kid will be in the other room watching TV and I'll be standing in the hallway where the acoustics are really good and I'll just sing Journey. Because, I got this like messed up kind of half chick, half dude voice, like, so I can get up there. I can really get up there. And when the acoustics are just great, I can do the whole, she said, not there. I got to warm it up. I got to test it. But yeah, so I sing in this room all the time. And now my fear is that when we sign off here in about an hour, 59 minutes as the clock tolls, I'm going to be singing a pedophile song. I'm going to be walking around this place going, I take you into the night. It's stuck in my head now. So thank you, Jeff Wilmering. That was him. He suggested Benny Mardona's Into the Night, and I will never attend a wedding in the same headspace again. That is very distressing. And here's another one. This is another one that I want to go through the lyrics on because it's timely. Yesterday we lost Charlie Watts. Charlie Watts died. We talked about that in the noon show. That was the big breaking news as we signed on at noon. And again, you can join me every day for the High Noon Show at noon every day where we do topics. It's whatever people are talking about. That's what we're going to be getting into. So, lost my train of thought. Well, you know what we have to do there. I did an extra one there for you. Rolling Stones, right? Charlie Watts just died. And, one of the things that I was talking to somebody on Facebook, after the show, I tend to jump on Facebook and try and answer all of the stuff in the chat and all that. Just because the way that we're doing this, I can't just check out. This is like a 24-hour a day job. I gotta, we gotta all make each other feel special. That's what we're trying to do. So I was talking to somebody on Facebook about Charlie Watts, and I'm like, I really, was he a good drummer? He was a cool guy. It's a good band, but I don't really. It's not like I've ever heard him talked about, like, you hear Neil Peart or Bonzo Bonham or Mooney or, somebody like that, Gene Krupa, I never really heard him mentioned in that space, but he's in the biggest band of all time and they never replaced him. So that's probably a sign that he's a good drummer. And just coincidentally enough, he passed away yesterday. Charlie Watts of the Rolling Stones. And Netflix put up a new documentary yesterday. Maybe it posted the day. I don't know. It's relatively new in the last couple of days. The timing is impeccable. And it's called Count Me In. And if you like documentaries, especially about music and stuff, it's a pretty good one. It's pretty interesting. Count Me In is about all the great rock drummers. And they assemble all the great rock drummers and they interview them about who they think are the great rock drummers, and who influenced them. And they picked out only about, maybe 8 of them, maybe of all the rock drummers of all time. They picked like 8 to really focus on. And Charlie Watts was one of them. And yeah, I got myself an education on the night the man died. Apparently he's considered one of the all-time great, incredible drummers. Like, the reason he stayed with the Rolling Stones is because they knew damn well they couldn't get a better drummer than Charlie Watts. He was, he wasn't flamboyant. He wasn't Keith Moon. Keith Moon was probably the most entertaining drummer to watch. And you had Bonzo, who was John Bonham of Zeppelin, who was certainly the most powerful rock drummer of all time. Although, maybe that's changed. Maybe there's been some other guys that I'm not familiar with. They talked about, who else did they talk about? Moon and Bonzo. Well, at any rate, the Rolling Stones made the list here of inappropriate pedophile songs. Or not, this one isn't necessarily a pedophile song, but this one comes off as a little bit inappropriate. And it's another song that I had never, ever in my life thought about the lyrics to. I just, well, I lost my spot again. I do apologize, folks. I never really thought about the lyrics to the song Brown Sugar. Trevor Talbot suggested this. And this isn't so much sexually inappropriate, but I sure didn't know what it was about. I mean, Brown Sugar, I thought it was just about Mick Jagger being attracted to black girls. And okay, calling them Brown Sugar might be a little, I don't know. Couldn't that be? Is their skin not a shade of brown? Is sugar not sweet? Isn't that kind of a compliment? I mean, why would that title alone be deemed inappropriate? So I had to pull up the lyrics. I had no idea what this song was about. This song was about raping black slaves. Did you know that? Did you people know that Brown Sugar by the Rolling Stones was about the rape of black slaves on slave ships? I mean, the first line, Gold Coast slave ship bound for cotton fields, sold in a market down in New Orleans. Scared old slaver knows he's doing all right. Hear him whip the women just around midnight. Brown sugar, how come you taste so good? Brown sugar, and then the next line, just like a young girl should. So it's like a doubly weird thing. It's about the rape and abuse of slave women and girls. This song is another one that's everywhere. I mean, now look, I'm not a prude. I would never say that it needs to be banned. I think that it depicts something that probably happened in history, a horrible thing that happened in history. Where I get a little weirded out by is that it's such a celebratory song. When Brown Sugar comes on, you're not like, no, you must really listen to the lyrics here. He's trying to say something. He's trying to talk about the despicable behavior of the slave trade and how that we as the white race need to really be making amends for our That's not what the song says. That song is a banger. That song is Brown Sugar. How come you taste so good? Yeah. Brown sugar. Just like a young girl should. Whoo. Drums beating, cold English blood runs hot. Lady of the house, like the what would that be, like the master's wife? Lady of the house wondering where it's gonna stop. Houseboy knows that he's doing all right. You should hear him just around midnight. Brown sugar, how come you taste so good now, brown sugar? Again, just like a young girl should. Look, it's a cool song, man. I love Brown Sugar. But now it's like, maybe I should rethink. Maybe when it comes on, I shouldn't be like, oh yeah, I love this song, Brown Sugar, just like a young girl. What? What am I singing here? What are we doing? What, Stones? This is the Stones. This can't be wrong, right? Somebody would have caught this way before now. It's got to be all right? All right. Let's rape slaves. Younger the better. Mick, come on. When you were writing these lyrics, what were you thinking? Don't tell me, it's like, well, it was different times, Pugs. People, didn't think there was anything wrong with having sex with young girls. I mean, if they were willing. Grass on the field, time to play. I mean, what? What's wrong with us? Somebody should have caught that a long time. Just my thoughts. Hey, I still love the song. But I don't know that I'll be rocking out to Brown Sugar the next time it comes on. I'll have to think. I'll have to be like, okay, well, let's see who's around here. Does anybody look like they know what this song's about? All right, looks like a bunch of dummies. Brown Sugar! All right, you have to make sure you just check the room. All right, had Mickey Gerard Jr., fancy name. I like it because the Junior makes it fancy, but the Mickey makes it approachable. Mickey suggests the Beatles. She was just 17, and then the creepy. She was just 17. You know what I mean? you know what I'm getting at. She was. She was just. You know what I mean? Come on. So The Beatles, now just making sure we're keeping track here, they've got the song Run for Your Life, which is a song about murdering your girlfriend simply because you caught her talking to another man and you're telling her that you're going to kill her if you ever see it again. Larry Stanley, my old friend, friend Larry Stanley comes in. He's got the Police again. You got to remind me. It's like all of my favorite bands are being taken down right here. Every Breath You Take, he suggests, which I'll be watching you. Every breath you, that's not right. Chris Young, this one I got a question. I don't really know. AC/DC has a few. Chris says, "Dirty Deeds" or "Big Balls." I don't really agree with either of those. I know both of those songs. I mean, Big Balls is just stupid. Well, I've got big balls, and I've got the biggest balls. Oh, but that's just juvenile. That's just like a juvenile, sophomoric, silly kind of thing. And Dirty Deeds, I think Dirty Deeds is a cool song. I mean, yes, it's about a hitman. But it's not about, raping slave kids. I mean, it's not in the same league as Brown Sugar. This is, Dirty Deeds. Dirty Deeds is a cool song. And it's look, AC/DC is silly. Do these guys look like they put a lot of thought into what it is that they're putting? They're not creating art. They're creating jams. AC/DC is just here to blow the roof off the place. They're not interested. They're not doing what Dylan does. They're not trying to make a bigger point. So yeah, I question the ACD, but thank you, Chris Young, for chiming in. Lindell, she suggested another one that I got a bit of a question about. She says, "Greased Lightning." Greased Lightning, or is it Greased Lightning? Greased Lightning. The play is Grease. Come on, grease like me. Yeah, it's greased. It's greased. Okay. The lyric that she takes issue with is, "You know that I ain't bragging. She's a real pussy wagon. The chicks will cream for greased lightning." That's just sexually suggestive to me. I mean, are we saying it's not like, you know that I ain't bragging, she's a real junior high school student, or something like, there's nothing so overtly that you go, it's, I mean, Grease, they're high school kids anyway. So you have to sort of look at it from that perspective. They're singing from the perspective of high school kids. So I don't know that anything there should be taken way too seriously. Amanda, she gives me two that I've got a real problem with, because again, not a real problem, but the same sort of problem that I had with the other one. She suggests Warrant's Cherry Pie. Remember, she's my cherry pie. Look, if you were my age back when that video came out, you know that song very well. You probably had the VCR tape in hand, waiting for MTV to say that was coming on, and boom, pop it in, hit record, because you were going to use those images of Bobby Brown. That was her name, Bobby Brown, the girl in the Cherry Pie video. You were going to use them images later, and you wanted to keep them on that VHS tape just for safekeeping, just in case you ever, just in case sometime you went home, girlfriend didn't give you what you needed, and you wanted to have that video of Cherry Pie at the ready, just in case. This isn't the pre-porn days. This is when we really had to work hard to find. This is back when I was a kid. You found the greatest day of your life was when you found a Playboy. I mean, you remember finding a Playboy? Oh my God. I remember riding bikes with a bunch of my friends, and we were going through these trails, and there was like a garbage bag, and my friend Joe, my friend Joe Larry, who is no longer with us, God rest his soul. My friend Joe goes, "Hey, check out the bag. What if it's filled with money?" And we're riding our bikes, like, "That's not filled with money." And then we look back, and he ain't catching up to us. We're now half a block away. "Hey, where's Joe? I don't know what's he doing. He's still back there." "Hey, Joe, what are you doing?" And he's he reaches in and he holds up above his head all of these Playboys and penthouses, and he's like, "It's better than money." And I will never forget that. It was the greatest day in our little 12-year-old lives. It was an amazing day. So yeah, back in the old days, you little leaguers out there watching, back in the old days, it was a little bit tougher to masturbate if you were, in the mood to. You couldn't just pull up Google and get past the parental blocks, because you kids probably know better than the parents do about how to navigate those things. It was a big day when you find a Playboy. The other one, so I don't really have a problem with Cherry Pie. That was just sort of a sexy, sexual innuendo kind of thing. I mean, honestly, if we're talking about sexual innuendo, Johnny Carson did worse, every night on the Tonight Show. Hey, our next guest is a girl with big boobs, and she's going to come out, and I'm going to talk to her, and she's going to have big boobs, and you're probably never going to see her again. I mean, that was like a regular thing. Johnny Carson would just have a guest on, a girl who had big boobs, and that was her talent. And God love him. He's the best, they say. The other one that Amanda suggests as inappropriate song lyrics, the Divinyls. Remember that one? That was another one that you had the VCR tape ready. You were like, woo, man, when the Divinyls video comes on, I am going to be ready. Boom, put it in, play and record, and sit back. Because you're going to use that. The Divinyls, I touch myself. It was just, but that again, I don't know that, I mean, it was certainly edgy for its time, but you can still do that today. There's worse, Are you kidding me? You ever heard Nicki Minaj? You ever heard Cardi B? I mean, they've taken what the Divinyls did with I Touch Myself, I Want You to Love Me. It's about a girl masturbating. And so was She Bop, by Cyndi Lauper. But we never knew that. We know. I didn't know. I didn't know about She Bop until much later. I think Cyndi Lauper She Bop is a cool song. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 bop, bop. Yeah, so She Bop is about female masturbation as well, and the Divinyls I Touch Myself was. But boy, that was a hot video. That Divinyls video. And I remember that was when I really learned about how Hollywood could get a hold of a woman who was a very attractive, normal woman if she was walking down the street and turn her into a sex bomb. Because when I saw the Divinyls a couple years later, about 10, they opened for somebody. And I remember sitting there going, where's the hot chick? Well, what happened to the hot chick from the video? Did they get a new singer? I mean, she's all right, but that ain't the girl from I Touch. Is it? It is? Really? I mean, it was kind of a shock because they really tarted her up. That was a hot, sexy video for, probably I was 15, 16, something like that back then when that one came out. So Amanda, I love that you participated. Thank you so much. But I don't really think that there's anything wildly inappropriate about Warrant's Cherry Pie or the Divinyls I Touch Myself. And now Brian Beck comes in. He's got another one. He's going to trash my Beatles again. So we've got She's Just 17 from the Beatles, which is needs no more explanation. Run for Your Life by the Beatles, which is about murdering your girlfriend because you saw her talking to another guy. And then Brian blows my mind here with a Beatles song. And look, I'm a lyrics guy, especially if that's why I love Springsteen. I love lyrics. Boy, if you can paint a picture with words, you got me. And if you can put a nice beat behind it, I'll be a fan for life. That's sort of what I need. I'm lyrically driven when it comes to the music that I like. I like to hear what they're saying. And I guess this got by me. And it's probably because it's not really a Beatles song that I love all that much, but the song Getting Better, which, I've always thought of as just sort of the quintessential song that explains the relationship between Paul and John. I never really thought about it as being troubling, but then again, I never got past the very first line because the very first line was the one that you'd hear and you'd go, oh, you hear that? You're like Beatle nerds. You'd be like, oh yeah, you hear that? That's that right there. That sums up their relationship. That the opening line is, it's getting better all the time. And that's Paul being all optimistic and poppy. It's getting better all the time. And then the next line comes is John, and John the pessimist is, it couldn't get much worse. It's like, and that's the Beatles. That's John and that's Paul. That's why they were so great. They were both immensely talented at doing very different things. And when it came together, so I never really went any further into the song Getting Better than that opening line, because that's kind of a cool sort of thing. If you're a Beatle fan, you're like, that's but man, I should have read more. Holy cow. And now that and when he posted this, Brian, thank you. Brian posted it, and I thought to myself, I went, oh God, he's right. I know those. I've heard those lyrics before. I've sung those lyrics. Why the hell didn't I ever stop and say, what am I doing? So here's the lyrics that are a problem. It's is it John? Or maybe it's Paul singing it. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to get the matter all the time. Yeah, I think it's Paul singing. Okay. And the line is, I used to be cruel to my woman. I beat her and kept her apart from the things that she loved. I beat her and kept her apart. Like, I used to be cruel to my woman. I beat her and I kept her locked in a closet. This is essentially what I'm getting from that. I used to be cruel to my woman. I beat her and kept her apart from the things that she loved. Man, I was mean, but I'm changing my scene and I'm doing the best that I can. That's like it's like he's been arrested and, he's court-ordered group therapy. And, he's got, hello, my name is Paul. I used to be cruel to my woman. And, I used to beat her. I used to keep her apart from the things that she loved. And I never really thought about it like that. So, damn it. Hey, you got the Beatles all trashed for me now. We got my Police all trashed for me now. We got Springsteen getting to, hey, little girl, is your dad at home? And they go away and leave you all alone. Oh, I met you online. Oh, online. Hey, that's a parody song. If I was still doing wacky radio, I'd probably crank that out tonight and have one of my producers throw that in the studio the next morning. That would be good. Except I don't do radio anymore. I do this. But I'm happy to. We need to reset. Brian Beck with a second one there. After blowing my mind. You blowing my mind, Brian Beck. Blew my mind with the Beatles song. This is another one that, but this one was controversial when it came out, and this one actually got the shit kicked out of it when it came out. It's not like this one was a big hit, and I believe that it's notable. Look, I'm a fan of Guns N' Roses, but One in a Million, right? That was the one with the very, very provocative line where, Axl's a racist and a homophobe because he has the line N-word and F-words, get out of my way. It's a cool song, though. But it's not like it was a big hit, and it's not like everybody overlooked those lyrics, because those lyrics were called out. The One in a Million lyrics were absolutely called out when in their time. So, but yeah, that's a good one. Thank you, Brian. Sean Smith says, 2 Live Crew, me so horny. Oh, me so horny. Oh, me so horny. That's just, to me, that's just a sexually provocative, that's, it's a dirty, there's always been dirty songs. And are they appropriate? Is being that sexually obvious, is that inappropriate? Well, I guess that really just depends on your view of sex. To me, it's not inappropriate. Nothing that is normal sex is inappropriate. It's, unless you're doing it in church, right? Or unless you're doing it in front of your grandma or something like that. There's a time and a place for everything, but not necessarily be too worried about. And again, 2 Live Crew is just like One in a Million by Guns N' Roses. 2 Live Crew didn't skate by. They didn't get away with anything. They were called out in their time as being vulgarians. And, this is the end of popular music. Dan Lewis, is this my old friend Dan Lewis? I don't know. It's Daniel Lewis. I think maybe he's classier now, but might be old. I think it might be Dan Lewis from the Russ Martin Show. I'm not sure if it is. Welcome. Appreciate you participating. He said, Johnny Burnett, You're 16. Now, I am not familiar with Johnny Burnett, You're 16, but is that the Ringo song? Because I immediately went, oh, crap, we got another Beatle-adjacent pedophile song. Is that because maybe that's the song that Ringo had? You're beautiful, you're mine. Or what is it? You're 16, you're beautiful, and you're mine. Living in my garage, chained up to the radiator. That was a weird one too. I think Ringo covered it. I think that was a Ringo cover. So maybe it was Johnny Burnett doing it originally. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate that. Here it is. He says, later covered by Ringo Starr. You come on like a dream. peaches and cream, lips like strawberry wine. You're 16. You're beautiful and you're mine. Nobody loves you like I will. Yeah, those are weird lyrics. And, Ringo was a man in his late 20s, maybe early 30s when that one came out. All right, so that's it. We're gonna transition away from that. Those are some pretty. Did you know there were that many pedophile rock lyrics going around out there? I didn't, and now I do. So thank you all so much. Without your help here, I would have no idea that stuff was going on. All right, I'm going to delve into the chat room here for a second, if you don't mind. I'm just going to take a look at what we're dealing with, who we got in here, maybe some comments on some of the stuff that we just got into. All right, let's see here. Jeff Glenn says that in the original version of Baby It's Cold Outside, in the Neptune's Daughter, you also have Betty Garrett, Edna on Laverne and Shirley. I don't know. Maybe going to the chat room is going to be good. I love you, Jeff, but I wasn't prepared for that. Big Enough by Keith Richards. Barbara suggests. I don't know that song. I don't know. Yeah. Ted Nugent. Aren't we surprised? Ted Nugent jailbait. Didn't he marry like a 15-year-old? Don't quote me on that, but isn't there something sketchy? Did he marry a cousin or a 15-year-old or a 15-year-old cousin or something like that? Something weird? I don't know. Let me see. Who else do we have in here? Kimberly. No, I don't know that one. Okay, all right. So there's not really much to do there. So on to the next. I did it twice as much because I don't think I did it the first time. I don't think we got to that. All right. We don't have a lot of time here. We had a lot of fun. I really liked that segment. I hope you guys did too. I was laughing by myself. Remember I told you how I laughed by myself? When I was realizing some of the brilliance that you guys have. You guys are awesome. Okay, so I want to talk about this today. And this is going to be a little bit rougher because I didn't curate these maybe the way that I did the last thing. But I asked the question because earlier today, again, we were talking about The Office and the attempts to cancel the episode Diversity Day, which was season 1, episode 2. Apparently, Comedy Central ran a marathon recently, and somebody goes by the name of Rear Admiral, because butt stuff, get it? That's funny. From Barstool, he noticed while sitting on his couch watching the marathon on Comedy Central that it seemed like episode 2, the Diversity Day episode, was missing. So he called Comedy Central, and they gave him no response. So, of course, being the responsible journalist that all the people over there at Barstool are, he went and wrote a big thing about how Comedy Central canceled Diversity Day, even though we don't have any proof of that. And, they haven't responded. And then Daily Wire, who then echoed that responsible journalism on the part of Rear Admiral from Barstool Sports, Daily Wire went and also contacted Comedy Central and asked them if they had canceled the Diversity Day episode, and they didn't get a response either. So, lack of response, we're all just going with they got canceled, because that's what we do. We don't wait for facts. We just roll with whatever the hell feels right at the time. I believe Stephen Colbert about 20 years ago coined the phrase truthiness, and it has never been more true than it is now. Something doesn't have to be supported by facts. It just needs to feel true. Truthiness. So I asked a bunch of you, because of everything being canceled, and I've been pretty upfront about. Look, I loved all the time that I spent here. I certainly loved my time working with Kelly Moore. Come on, she was terrific, and I would not rule out doing something in the future, and we even have ideas, and people are talking, and all of that stuff. Not me and her though. I refuse to talk to her, and I think she's starting to get mad because the person we're going between is our boy Ed from Radio Misfits, because I think it's kind of interesting that I actually haven't spoken to her probably since the last time we were on the air together. Other than, if you follow us on Twitter, sometimes we go back and forth on Twitter, and we text like big life events and stuff. We text each other and all that, but we don't sit and chat. And I just think that's probably because we sat next to each other for 10, 11, 12 years between Chicago and Dallas. And for 4 hours a day, we just talked about everything together. So maybe it's just, I don't know, but it's certainly not any problem. But I thought it would be most interesting if the very first time we talk again is when we're back on the mic. So I can be like, so what's up? We can just kind of, because that was one of the things that I thought we did rather uniquely back in the day. We didn't do bits. We were almost like a random stream of consciousness podcast before podcasts existed. And in the time, it certainly wasn't appreciated by some, but it was very much appreciated by others. And I'm grateful for that. And there's certainly nothing wrong with the way she and I communicate. So I thought maybe that'll be the first time we get together. It'll be the first time we talk, and then you guys will be the beneficiary of that. John says, Kelly, great. And Sybil, too. Sybil's on 98.7. That's right. Sybil is on 98.7, 2 to 7 every day, and she is killing it in the ratings. She is just stomping. That bunny with teeth is just kicking some ass. So proud of her, my radio daughter. So I asked the question about those days in lieu of all the cancellations and whatnot. I asked the question, I certainly must have done there's stuff that I did that I know I'm not proud of. And I don't know that it's necessarily stuff that would be cancelable, but there was stuff that I did back then, attitude, positions that I took, people that I confronted. I was nothing that I did I regret because I necessarily feel it was inappropriate, like over the line, vulgar, or, but inappropriate in a different way. Like I feel like maybe there were certain people that I could have been kinder to, paid more attention to, been more grateful to. I've mentioned them all. People like Sybil, people like James, people like Eric, people like, I was never mean to them. I wasn't a horrible boss. Those people stayed with us for years. If we were terrible, they probably wouldn't have stayed with us that long. But I do regret sometimes, being a little bit less than maybe as supportive or whatever. But so I was thinking, I'm wondering, because I don't really think that way. Is there anything that we may have done on our old show way back in the day that would get us canceled today or get us in a whole lot of trouble? And I put that up there on Facebook. I said, if you guys are longtime listeners to our former show, in this thread, please list examples from my past that would get me canceled today. Again, please try and be specific. Hold nothing back. I own it all. Unfortunately, I'm ready. Here we go. So, and we got a lot of comments, and I purposefully didn't look at this thread because, I'm all about keeping it real. Oh, yeah. I'll do this one more time. Short ones. So I'm reading these for the first time. Albert Ray says, I wish I could remember specifics, but I'm sure there's some in the HGD portions of the show. Yeah, okay. So maybe some of you don't know. The HGDs were a segment that we did. It was an advice segment. It was a human growth and development segment with Pugs and Kelly, where people would, you people, specifically speaking, you people would send us emails about dilemmas that you're having in your personal life, problems with family members, problems with neighbors, whatever, boyfriend problem. My boyfriend won't let me check his phone, stuff like that. And then Kelly and I would read the message, and we'd discuss it amongst ourselves. And it was, I guess you'd call it one of the cornerstone bits of our show. I always really liked it. I always thought that was something, now here we are in retrospect, looking back, I always thought that was something that, that we did fairly well, that, I thought, maybe this is something we can do. I actually think HGDs would make a good podcast. I think that could be like a really good weekly podcast where we do like 2 of them a week or whatever, but we'll see. We'll find out what we're going to do. But as far as Albert's suggestion that, he can't remember any specifics, but he's sure there's some inappropriate things in the HDD. I don't think on our part. I mean, I swear to God, people, Kelly and I did those honestly. I mean, we really, you people provided the material. The material was fantastic, and it all came from you guys. And I think Kelly and I operated as if these were your real issues, and we hope that they were. I mean, I guess some of you could have lied and made up some stuff, but whatever. We treated them, I thought, like we were really trying to help, and maybe our advice sometimes was a bit over the top, trying to be entertaining, but it was all boiled. When you boil it all down, it was all pretty truthful. I think, we meant the best. We really did. So as far as that, I don't really think that anything that we had done in the past would that would be deemed inappropriate would come from those segments. All right, let's see what else. What else do we have? David Manley, he says, I don't remember the line, but when you guys did overnight shows in the beginning, I think that there was a line that someone came up with that we could say, which may or may not help us get out of a ticket. This was way back when. Okay, when Mish at Midnight was also on. Okay, I don't remember the Mish. I remember him, but I don't remember him when we were doing overnights. I don't remember him being on then. But it's okay. It was a long time ago. We confused things in our heads. Yeah, I remember that. It was we had a lot of cops. We still to this day, probably a bunch of Dallas cops hanging out in the chat room or on the Facebook page. But because we were doing overnights in the beginning, we had a lot of the night crew cops and all of that, and they would listen and they would come out to our events, and we'd be hanging out with them, we'd be getting crazy, and then we find out they were a cop. Like, oh yeah, I'm a cop. And you're like, oh, geez, it. All right, never mind. I mean, I've done some sketchy stuff around cops. And they were like, well, it's all right, man. We're part of them out of uniform. I'm not a cop all the time. But some of my best friends back then were cops. It's always good to be friends with cops. And we had come up with this idea because we knew that there were so many police listening that if you got pulled over by a cop, we came up with a line that as the cop walked up to your window, you could turn to the cop and you could say this line. And if the cop was a listener, it was incumbent upon him to let you go. And it actually worked a bunch of times, like a bunch of times. I never tried it or anything like, and I don't remember what the line was. Does anyone in the chat room remember what the line was? Wasn't it something like, I'm sorry, officer, but isn't the real offense the Pugs and Kelly show? Isn't that the line? Wasn't that? It was something like that. I think it was something like that. All right. I don't think that's inappropriate. Probably poor policing, pull over a drunk guy. Sorry, officer, isn't the real offense Pugs Kelly show? Maybe that was a bit inappropriate. All right, you crazy little drunk scamp. Get on out of here. Get on out of here. So yeah, I don't remember what that is, but thank you, David. What a great memory. I hadn't really even thought about that until just now. Cody Cox, every time you had on Nick DiPaolo, whew, boy, ain't that the truth. God, that was a tough one. All right, if we're doing story time here in the last 22 minutes, that was a tough one. Nick DiPaolo's kind of an asshole. It's his act on stage. He's like, I'm a New York guy. Yeah, I don't take any shit. He's like one of those dudes. And I found him funny, and he was a regular on Tough Crowd, and I enjoyed his spots on Tough Crowd on Comedy Central. That was the Colin Quinn show. And Nick was, if you remember, Kelly and I had become very good friends with a lot of the New York comics. Not so much the LA comics, although there were some of the LA comics that were our friends. But like our running group of comics that we would hang out with hang out with. Like they would come to town. I'd go to all their shows, 2 shows on Friday, 2 shows on Saturday, 1 show on Sunday. And then we go out and party and hit the town every night, Friday night, every night, Saturday night. And those guys were all essentially the New York comedy cellar guys. So, anyone that would have been, we were very tied in with the Opie and Anthony crew back then, if you remember. So it was pretty much anybody who was a regular on Opie and Anthony were kind of like our guys. We would hang out with them. Whether it was Norton or, guys like, even Stern guys like Gas and Florentine and, We even, the cellar crew. You can't mention the old New York comedy cellar crew without talking about Louis C.K. I mean, Louis was a friend of the show. Talk about inappropriate. Look, can I just say, I got no defense of Louis C.K. or anything like that, but man, I spent a lot of time around him. I mean, you guys remember he'd come out to events. He would do, he'd be in town and we'd be doing a live thing. He'd come out and have lunch with us and we'd interview him and, he'd hang out and he'd talk to everybody. He was such a nice guy. I mean, he really was a nice guy. And I just thought he was such a genius. I just thought he was so good at what he did as a comedy writer and all of that. And, and then things happen and, we are where we are in 2021. You don't really know anybody. And I still think he's, it doesn't erase. He's not a child. I don't even want to get into it. But anyway, so yeah, how did I get on that? So, I'm totally lost now. We were talking about the New York comedy guys. Nick DiPaolo is what we were talking about. So Nick DiPaolo was in that New York comedy crew, and every time that he would come on the show, it was a problem. Not a problem because Kelly didn't like him. Because Kelly saw what he was. He wasn't a nice guy. His comedy was funny because he was constantly brutalizing somebody in his comedy. And, I found that entertaining again, like, I say, I think there's things that's something maybe I should have been a bit more of a discerning judge of what is actually funny and what is just, a bully being mean, because bullies can be funny. He's a bit of a bully. And Kelly often called Nick DiPaolo out on the air. She didn't even play. Kelly is not a phony. Kelly, when Nick DiPaolo would come in and you'd hear us and I'd be like, what's the matter, Kelly? Well, you don't like Nick? And then Nick would be like, yeah, what's the matter, Kelly? Is it that time of the month? He'd like get into that whole stuff and then she'd go off on him. So yeah, there was probably some very inappropriate stuff that went down with Nick DiPaolo because he used to get totally gacked up when he would come in. Not like drugs. I mean, like emotionally gacked up because he knew he was going to have to go to war with Kelly. And, it probably made the segments better than they were because he's not a great comedian, but, that added an extra wrinkle. Kelly's contribution made it probably more interesting. Okay, so here's one from, and I'm sorry, this Manuel Garcia. Yeah, I'm sorry that someone whose last name is Garcia has to be the one to bring this up. Inappropriate things that we used to do back in the day that could get us canceled today. Manuel Garcia suggests our old getamexican.com website. Getamexican.com. I never liked it. I gotta be honest. I never liked that. I was never down with Get a Mexican. I always thought that the argument as to why calling it Get a Mexican was all right was a little bit flimsy at best. The argument was, no, but no, the Mexicans don't care. And then we'd have like one intern who was like part Mexican and you'd go, hey, are you offended by getamexican.com? The intern who's just been there a week, he's like, no, I'm not offended at all. See, it's totally cool. I was always made uncomfortable. What Get a Mexican was, it was like what? Craigslist before there was a Craigslist? Because here in Texas, when you need something done around the house, your shingles are screwed up, you need your gutters done, you need to get your lawn work done, some kind of handyman work. It was like, why don't you get yourself a Mexican? Go get a Mexican. So we came up with getamexican.com, and it was where listeners could trade services with each other. It's troubling, right? I mean, why? What are we saying there? That all Mexicans are good for is, cleaning your gut? I mean, it's very uncomfortable. But we did it, and okay, that's one that I'd like to have back. That's can I get a mulligan on that? But you know what? I also put this on my friends. Like half of my friends, now that you live down here, half your friends are Mexican, or they have some Mexican in them, or whatever. Texican, maybe they go. Sybil, our own producer. So None of my friends ever had a problem. They never said anything. They never warned me. I own that one on my own. I did not like the whole get a Mexican thing. And then here's what I love about Manuel Garcia posting getamexican.com as being problematic back in the day. It's echoed by a girl named Amy Ruiz. It's like, oh, come on. No, now you're all coming out. Come at me. Where were you 15 years ago? You told us then. And a number of people are in this thread now. Oh, yeah, that's what I was coming here to say. I was coming here to say that same thing. Get a Mexican. All right, more inappropriate things that we did back in the day that would probably get us canceled now. Let's see here. Randy. Oh, this is Randy, one of our old interns. This is so she was there. She was there. She was closest to the fire. Randy says, I mean, at least a few show recordings were pointed out to me. At least to me, they were, that they contained extremely explicit material. And I was warned, never, ever let these segments re-air. So she's talking about her time when she would have to put together best of shows and all that, and she'd be cutting. There was a number of things that we did apparently on the air that she was told by management, no matter what, these never get replayed. They aired once. We dodged the bullet. We will never replay these again. So, Randy, I'm sorry that you had to go through that. I mean, at least there were a few show recordings we're pointing out. I don't know of anything that we did that was... Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Yeah. Okay, and I can think of one. Do you guys remember when we made our producer, Bobby, drink a Dixie cup filled with his own urine for $50? See, these are the kinds of things I wish I could have back. I mean, he did it. We didn't twist his arm. He did it willingly. But yeah, the premise was he was complaining about not having any money. He was our executive producer. And he was talking about how broke he was. And, I said, well, what do you want to do? I'll give you some money. What do you want to do? You got to earn it, and I don't know. Somehow it got down to, will you drink a cup of your own urine? How much do you want this money? And I'll never forget, I think I offered Bobby $50 to do it, and he goes, I'd do it for $20. So I think he only got $20 to drink a cup of his own urine. Good times. But no, Randy, I don't really know. You would probably know better than me since you were back there in the tape room with all the stuff. I don't remember. But hi, Randy. Love you, Randy. Alex says one of the inappropriate things that could get us canceled today was, he says, I believe Kelly getting her first lap dance. It's been a while, but there's a video of that. Yeah, I don't think that's that bad. I mean, that's what? Because it's a lesbian kind of a thing. Kelly's not a lesbian, and even if she was, lesbianics is totally okay these days. It was okay then too. It's just there were people with sticks up their butt. All right, let's see here. What else do we got? Anything else that we did? I really don't remember any of these. I don't. Cody Fraley, he says, but this is just a good memory. You know what? Thank you, folks. I don't care if at this point, now that I'm just going through these for the first time, because I wanted to give my natural reaction to them. Whether they're real or not, or whether they're inappropriate, I don't care. But they're nice memories. You guys are bringing back a lot of nice memories for me. This is something I tell people all the time. And back in Chicago, you guys should know that I like when I went back to Chicago and I just worked with normal people. Honestly, I wasn't like on the radio or anything like that. I did regular jobs. I worked with normal people, and I must have been like the most obnoxious ass, because I would just things would come up and I'd go, yeah, that reminds me of the time that me and him were in a car. And they're like, what? You were never in a car? And it's I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. None of these people know what I did in my previous life. Now I'm just the guy that's making shit up. They probably all said, that guy lies so much. He says that Kim Kardashian taught him the difference between red and green salsa. Can you believe that? I'm like, she did in line at the Grammys in 2005. Me and Stuart Copeland were sitting there. Let's see here. So this is one that I've told people about. And yeah, I don't know if they believe me or not. Oh, you know what? I was with a group of guys who I had just started working with, and again, the kiss of death, the Pugs and Kelly show. So many of our friends have died. So many of our guests have died. You guys remember when Ralphie May died? Oh my God, I felt so bad. I was really upset by that. Ralphie was so wonderful. He was such a wonderful guy. I mean, talk about a spirit. That guy had love in his heart, and that guy. Oh my! But you kind of knew. I mean, he's not healthy, and he was so heavy. But man, what a guy Ralphie May was! What a just wonderfully sweet guy he was. When he died, I remember I was with people who had absolutely no idea about that, and I was told that he died by two guys that I worked with who were friends. Who one of them said, "Oh my God, hey, Ralphie May died," and I was like, "What? Who? What are you talking about?" He's like, "Ralphie May, the comedian." And I go, "No, I know who he is." And like I leaned over at the computer and I'm looking at the computer and I'm reading the story, and I'm like, I mean, you guys know Ralphie was a regular with us. He was on all the time, and I got like choked up because Ralphie was one of those guys that we hung out with. Ralphie was one of those guys that would go to dinner with me. Ralphie was one of those guys that would hang out at my house. Ralphie was fun. Ralphie was awesome. And I remember I'm with these guys and they're like, "Oh, that guy was so funny, man. Yeah, but he was so fat. I mean, you knew he was going to die." And I'm like reading this story over their shoulder and I start to get really choked up. And I turn around and I walk out and, everything was fine. And I came back and so he said, what's going on? What was going on there? Why'd you leave? And I go, "Oh, Ralphie was a friend of mine." They're like, "What are you talking about?" And I go, I knew Ralphie, and I just feel kind of bad, right? It's like, yeah, right, yeah. Not only the Kim Kardashian thing, but that guy says he knew Ralphie May. What a liar! And so that was my existence for a number of years. That kind of shit is why I'm so desperate to show my little kid that I got a sandwich named after me. Weinberger's got a sandwich. I was somebody. So this is another one of those situations where I've told people this story and they just never believe me. Cody Fraley says, that time when you were talking about the Madonna and Britney kiss instead of getting to Jim Gaffigan, who was waiting in the green room. All right. In my defense, I had no idea Jim Gaffigan would blow up all these years later to be one of the great stand-up comics of the era. But it was like the MTV Awards, and the MTV Awards opened with Britney Spears and Madonna coming out and making out on stage in front of everybody. I mean, remember this? This was like a big deal. And for the kind of show that Kelly and I did, that was the sort of thing that we would talk about. We would, like, okay, if they were in a relationship, really, if they were dating, who would be the boss? It would be Madonna, right? Madonna's the guy in there. So we were having this really long, drawn-out conversation, and I imagine that you guys were really participating and jumping in and helping us out, and the phones were rocking, and it was a really great segment. And the producer kept going in our ears, "Jim Gaffigan is in the green room," and I'd be like, "Yeah, we're rolling, man. Look at these phones, we're rolling. This is a great segment." And 10 minutes would go by. Jim Gaffigan is really getting angry. He's wondering if you can maybe speed this up, or he's going to leave. And I'm like, it'll be fine. So anyway, Madonna, I mean, she would be like the bull, right? She's the guy. Hey, Jim Gaffigan is like on his way out and he's kicking walls and screaming at you guys. And I go, all right, let's wrap this up. All right, hey, we got Jim Gaffigan coming up. He's let's bring Jim in. Can we get Jim in? We're waiting on Jim Jim, what? He left? What do you mean he left? He's mad. What do you mean he's mad? And Jim Gaffigan went on stage that weekend at the Improv and just destroyed us. And he's such a brilliant comic. I wish I'd heard it. I bet it was like just some of the greatest stuff. And I regret that, but that was a big story. And like I said, I had no idea that Jim Gaffigan was going to blow. But here's a word to the wise. That's another guy. Like we talked about Jay Leno the other day. Like Jay Leno, Mr. Nice Guy, right? Yeah, but he dragged Monica Lewinsky all up and down the block. That tells me he's not really a nice guy. He's just playing nice. Jim Gaffigan is like Mr. Nice Guy, right? Mr. Lovable, Mr. Dad. All of his, all that stuff, and he's great. Wonderfully talented. He's acting and stuff, and he's really good at it all. But he was not Mr. Nice Guy Jim Gaffigan that day. He was a bit of a prima donna. He was a prima donna making out with Britney. That's the whole. gosh, I bet you didn't think that I had one of those. I don't have, but I got one of these. So the side of Jim Gaffigan that we saw that day was an angry guy, a very angry, mean guy. And that's a story that I told someone once. I said there was some Jim Gaffigan thing. That was like, yeah, did you see that? Jim Gaffigan is really funny. Do you know who he is? And I probably said something like, yes, he's my mortal enemy. And they're like, he's lying again. He says he's mortal enemies with Jim Gaffigan. Look, man, I've been blessed. I had a lot of fun in my 30s. I was, we all had a lot of fun together. And I'm not lying. You guys all know. You guys were all here for this. This isn't stuff I'm making up. But unfortunately, there's a bunch of guys on the south side of Chicago who think I am the biggest liar on the face of the earth. And that's fine by me. Okay, we're going to run through a couple of more of these. These are fun. These are really bringing back wonderful memories. I appreciate that. Let's see. A lot of stuff about Eric, you guys. Now look, you put a lot of stuff out here about our old producer, Eric Mark, and there's a lot of stuff that he could get canceled for. So we're not going there, and I may actually delete all of these off of the pages just because that dude is important now. That guy's got a whole kind of thing. You want to talk about a dude who ain't what he used to be? Eric Mark is the stuff, man. I'm so proud of that kid. He got out of radio, and he's, oh my God, I think he's just a professional degree attainer. He's like got all of these college degrees and crazy. So we're not gonna get into any of the Eric stuff. That's let's give him a break. That kid was a gamer though. Man, that kid was a gamer. Hey, him and Paco, Eric and Paco, man, you get them to do anything. They were just such gamers back in the day. God, I love them. All right, so I'm reading one of the Eric ones and I so want to tell it. I can't. I'm sorry. Yeah, go to the Facebook page. Maybe you can get to it before I delete it. Let's see here. Nikki Sanchez says, I don't know what could get you canceled or about what could get me canceled today. Nikki Sanchez says, possibly your line when you said, coke and strippers ain't all they're cracked up to be. Boy, that's true. That is true. My boy James Garcia knows that. Woo, sounds like fun, but yes, I don't even remember saying that, but that certainly sounds like something I would have said one morning on the air after a late night. Coke and strippers ain't what they're all cracked up to be. Mike Robinson says probably could have gotten canceled for buying someone's prescription drugs live on the air. I don't remember that, and I honestly cannot believe that would go down. We worked for CBS. I mean, we did follow Stern, so maybe they weren't really paying attention to what we were doing. They figured he was doing all the bad stuff. So then I asked him, I said, I don't remember that, Mike. And then he said, yeah, you were curious about Viagra. And I knew a guy. Okay. Well, not curious about Viagra anymore. I'll tell you that. I know all about I know all about the little blue pill. Big fan. Big fan. No shame in my game. Big fan. Although not in quite a while, actually. So my younger days, maybe. But you'd go out, you'd drink a bunch of whiskey. You don't want to be embarrassed. Benjamin Clark says the fight with Kelly at the bar. And I say, which one? Which one? Kelly and I used to get into fights all the time. And we were like brother and sister. It didn't mean anything, but Benjamin Clark, let's see here. He said that one, the fight with you and Kelly at the bar. April says, oh, geez, my memory sucks. I can't really think of anything. The first show I ever listened to of P&K was about anal beads, but it was educational. That good. I'm glad. Did y'all have any shows involving Ron Jeremy? Yeah, we talked about that last night when we did the whole Ron Jeremy. Ron Jeremy was on a lot. She says, I remember a lot of and remember a lot of Big Dick and the Bunny Ranch guy. Yeah, that was that. I remember Pitmaster General. I was talking about him too. Dennis Hoff, he's gone. Sarah Jean. Okay, so we'll leave on this one since we're running out of time because this one I don't remember. I mean, I remember what she's talking about. I remember there was one fight that Kelly and I had at the end of the show that was really bad. And I remember her leaving the studio and sitting out on the curb in the parking lot of the radio station. And I remember going out there after we cooled down. I remember going out there and just sitting next to her on the curb in silence. It was kind of sweet, I guess. It was sort of what our relationship was. I mean, we were brother and sister, we weren't really going to say anything that was going to make us angry at each other forever, but I probably said something at the end of the show. I was probably pushing her too far, knocking her buttons all day long, and she just snapped, and it was the end of the show, so she left early. But Sarah has the specifics of another fight. She says, the fight between you and Kelly that ended the show about whether or not Tiger Woods looked more black or Asian. That's it, man. That's great. That is spectacular. That is exactly the kind of thing that Kelly and I would go to war over back in the day. Like whether or not, and take it real serious. But I have to imagine that she said Asian, right? Because, I mean, why would I argue that Tiger Woods totally looks more, oh, we're going to start this fight again. Tiger Woods looks totally more black than he does Asian. And she probably took the point that he looked more Asian. And I couldn't believe it. So I probably went a little bit too far. And then Sarah also says, I also remember you talking about girls that most people think are hot that really come off as skanks. I remember hearing you say that Pink looks like she smells like onions. Yeah, well, that I do. I do remember the Pink line. I do remember, but the full quote on what my opinion of Pink was, I thought that Pink smelled like, it's not just onions. It was Pink smells like cigarettes, wet suede, and onions. Cigarettes, wet suede, and onions. That's what Pink looks like. All right, so that's gonna be it. We're done here, folks. Yeah, I miss Eric Mark too, John. But you know what? I talked to him the other day. I just talked to him yesterday. We're me and Eric, we're going to go out. We're going to go out and we're going to tip a couple. So that's good. I miss him too, but for me, I'm going to end up getting that. Emily says the yogurt panties episode. I don't remember yogurt panties. Oh God, we were so stupid. We were just such a stupid show. Yogurt panties. Emily says I'm part Mexican. GetAMexican.com was okay. No Mexicans were harmed. It was the white people who were offended. Yeah, probably. Kimberly says, what about Paco? Yeah, what about Paco? Paco passed away, Kimberly. I don't know if you were with us, but I loved Paco. I talked about that. We don't need to get back into that. We were having so much fun today, weren't we? Wow, man, I thought we had fun today, right? This was good. You guys provided all the content today. I really had to do almost nothing to prep for this show. I just asked you guys some questions, and then I got to come in here and we riffed on it. And this is the way to end week one of the late night show, the 10 o'clock show. But please remember that, I do this thing every day during the day too. So if you used to listen, during the days, if you were, a midday show listener, then please come on by and you can join us for what we're calling the high noon lunchtime show with me. Although it's not like a pun, like, oh, Pugs is high. I don't do that. I don't smoke weed anymore. I don't. I totally quit. I just one day said, I want to see if I can quit. There was somebody else, a very dear friend of mine in my life, who just quit cold turkey, and I wanted to see if I could do it too. And you know what? That was very easy. It was irritating at first. I was like, man, I'd usually be high while I'm watching this episode, but no, it was actually, although I am drinking a little again. Every night I got to have my little cup of scotch, but Irish whiskey, not scotch. So that's it. We'll see you back here tomorrow at noon, where we're going to run through all the topics of the day. I hope you can join us for lunch. And please, I hope you tell people we're trying to build this. I mean, I know we have a cool little gang here that we're having fun with, and well, we got to grow it. If we're going to keep doing this, there's got to be more people. There's got to be a reason to keep it going. And there's got to be a reason that I can make a living doing this. And I don't need to get rich. I mean, anybody who knows me knows that I can stretch a dollar, boy. I'm king of the dollar store. So we're going to try and make this work. This has been so great. What a fun night of doing these shows. And we'll see you again, tomorrow. Okay. Tomorrow at noon for High Noon with me, Pugs. Love you all. Have a good night's sleep. We'll rally back here at noon tomorrow. Be well.